$500,000. That's a pretty serious home buying budget. But if you're looking along the Connecticut shoreline, what does $500,000 actually buy you? Well, this week we're looking at Branford, Connecticut. And the answer is, it depends on what you're willing to trade. I'm Frank DiGrizenzo with Calcaney Real Estate, and this is Welcome Home Connecticut, where we look at Connecticut towns, housing, and the things you should know before deciding where to call home. For this one, I pulled every Branford property I could find that was active, went under contract, or sold during the last 180 days with a price that fell between $450,000 and $550,000. That's 36 properties. So instead of picking out a nice house you see online and saying to yourself, look what $500,000 buys, let's see what buyers around that budget are actually encountering when 500,000 isn't some arbitrary number I picked because it looked good in a YouTube title. Of the properties in that price range that actually closed, the median price was almost comically perfect, 500,000 exactly. And that also puts you in an interesting part of Branford's overall market. In July, the median sold price across Branford was $423,000, while the median asking price of active inventory was $524,900. So $500,000 isn't the bottom of the Branford market, but it isn't exactly luxury home money either. It's right in the thick of where a lot of the market is happening. So let's start with the question most buyers are probably asking. If I want a traditional single-family home, what does that roughly $500,000 get me? Looking at single-family homes in that price range that closed, the middle of the sample was roughly a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom for about with about 1,600 square feet. The annual property taxes in that area was around $6,800 at this particular group. But those averages hide something important. There really isn't one 500,000 Branford house. Around this budget, I found that everything from roughly 2,600 square foot, 4-bedroom, older colonial, advertised around 520, but it listed as needs work, to updated homes with considerably less square footage, to properties that you're paying partially for the proximity to Branford shoreline, to the town center, and other location advantages. That's really the game around 500,000. You're probably not checking every box. You're deciding which boxes matter the most to you. Then there's another way to spend roughly 500,000 in Branford. Don't buy a traditional single-family house at all. Condos and townhouses around this price range could offer a very different package for you. In the properties I looked at, there were units offering things like water community, beach access or rights, pools, tennis, clubhouses, and other amenities you'll find in condo complexes. Some offered roughly the same amount of interior space as a regular single-family home that I also found in the sample. Several of the active condos in this price range currently have HOA fees that could be north of $500 a month. So don't compare a $500,000 condo with a $500,000 single-family house using just purchase price alone. Compare the monthly cost of owning them. Taxes, HOA fees, insurance, maintenance, and financing all affect what property actually costs to you every month. Branford is still operating with pretty tight inventory. July had roughly 1.83 months of supply, and homes across the market sold for roughly 102% of their original asking price. We see essentially the same thing in our $500,000 sample. The closed properties had a median sale to list ratio of roughly 102%. So if your absolute maximum budget is $500,000, automatically shopping all the way up to that mark may leave you very little wiggle room to negotiate when multiple offers come in for the property you want. So your search ceiling and your spending ceilings don't always have to reflect the same number, nor should they. And this doesn't mean that you should automatically offer over asking just because they're selling for over asking. Some properties warrant competition, others don't. So if you came to me and said, Frank, I've got $500,000 in my housing budget and I want to live in Branford, I wouldn't start by sending you every listing from 450 to 500. I'd start by asking you questions so we can narrow it down and find out what you need. Do you want more space even if the house needs updating? Would you be willing to sacrifice square footage for something that's already renovated? Does being close to the shoreline matter to you? Is that why you want Branford? Would you consider a condo if it gives you the location or the lifestyle you're looking for? And what's the monthly payment you're comfortable rather than simply the purchase price that your lender says you're qualified for? Once I know those answers, 500,000 becomes a lot more useful than just a number. Here's my takeaway after looking through all the data that I pulled. Yes, $500,000 gives you a legitimate option in Branford. You can find single family homes, you can find condos, townhouses, you can find different combinations of spaces with different levels of updates, locations, and all the amenities you might possibly think of. But $500,000 in Branford doesn't buy one particular lifestyle. Your priorities determine what the best version of that 500,000 looks like. Your priorities decide which one makes sense to you. I'm not here to tell you that any town will do it for you, that every Connecticut town is perfect for you, or that there's only one place you should want to live. I want to give you enough information to figure out which communities and which homes actually fit you. If Branford is on your list, check out my latest Branford housing update. I will link it down below. That video goes deeper into the current inventory, prices, and buyer competition. And if you're looking in Branford or anywhere in New Haven County and the surrounding areas and you'd like to help figure out what your budget actually buys, reach out. I'm always happy to talk. Even if you're still at the I'm just comparing towns or I'm just looking and have no idea where I want to live yet, even if you haven't secured the financing yet and you want to talk, that's fine. That's all part of the process. I'm Frank DeGrazenza with Calcaney Real Estate. Please subscribe for more Welcome Home Connecticut and tell me in the comments. Here's your question for the week. If you had $500,000 to spend, what's the one thing you would never compromise on? I'll see you in the next one.